Today, on behalf of #Innovative India Movement, National Council News and Broadcasting, All India Council for Human Rights, Liberties and Social Justice, Safeguarding Children Seva Samiti Uttar Pradesh, Kaushambi Foundation Uttar Pradesh, International Human Rights Commission, and Voices on the Mount Africa Ghana, we welcome our guest speaker today, Mrs. Rajinder Narula ji, ma'am, to talk on the topic Reimagining What It Takes to Lead as a Leader. Mrs. Rajinder Narula ji is a qualified academic assessor, auditor, member of National Board for Education and Training, Quality Control of India, Government of India, founder member of Ryan International School, and a headmistress, set up a new branch of Ryan International School, Urban Estate, Ludhiana. Educator with 28 years of vast experience leading educational at DPS Noida, we welcome you, ma'am, today.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So please tell us about your journey. How has been as a leader? Like you have been having experience of 28 years, such a wide leadership quality you have. So please tell us about your leadership as a teacher, as an educator, as a headmistress. What all things are required?
Good morning, good evening, India. For me, it's good morning. Good evening,
Right.
Kaushaki. Thank you for inviting me here. And well, it's been a very enriching journey. Thankfully, I came into the field of education, and on the go, I realized that this is the field where I always wanted to be. And as my own boys grew, as my own children grew, I grew along with them. And I was a biology. I was a PGT biology at Ryan International School, Noida. Being a founder member, I was there for 20 years. And before that, I was for 2 years at DPS Noida also. And that's actually my where the journey began, you know. And on the way, learned lots and lots of things, and went on to then 2013 to DAV head office as officer on special duty, and set up a department of academic audits, which are also called educational and trainings of teachers who become master trainers. And on the go, even I am learning side by side. So my learning is going on. I am a lifelong learner.
That's something. You are being down to earth, ma'am. You have such much experience. If I see your profile, and I have just talked half of the way of journey about you. So I think you have much, like, as a leader, you have done a better job. Like, we have to be you are a mentor to us. So, ma'am, just tell us about, like, what is critical thinking as a leader, the leader require in the field of education, in the field of being a mentor to someone. What all critical thinking is required in the field of being a mentor?
See, Kaushaki, it's like this. Now, today the world is an information overload world. Click of the button and Google gives you information as weird as, if I want to see how many books are there which have got odd number of pages, at the hit, I will get at least 1,000 answers. So weird information is everywhere available. So it is your thinking to think. That's called critical thinking, which will allow you and every one of us in this information overload world to understand what is right and where is actually the truth. So this field of critical thinking has been an old one. This is not something which came in right now. Suddenly we realized and we are talking about critical thinking. Under different names it was there, but under the terminology of critical thinking, it was somewhere in 1940s that this word came in, right? So this is the terminology from then on. Yeah. So, yeah, you want to say?
Ma'am, in like, for the simple person, casual person, what is critical thinking? Can you explain and elaborate it in simple terms so that people can understand what is actually critical thinking? People sometimes mix it with the leadership qualities. something like okay, this is something brainstorming sessions we have to take. So is it critical thinking related to all these things, or it is something else which is to be given to a person as a, it can be learned?
Yes, it can be developed. It's a skill which can be developed in us. But only thing is little harder, but if we work on it, we can. So the question is why you are asking me why children of today and we adults who are arguably with a good educational background now want to learn ways of critical thinking, because there's so much information I was talking about and you know it very well. You go to Twitter, you go to WhatsApp, there is gyan going on. There are classes of gyan which is banta ja raha hai,
Right.
right?
Right.
How knowingly or unknowingly we get into traps and we start believing things which ought not to be. So that's the time when critical thinking comes into our help. Now, I'll take you a little back. See, 2010, think of 2010. I don't think 2009 or 10 we even had smartphones. I don't think so.
Right.
It
Right.
Apple who brought the first Apple 4. That's what I remember. I may be wrong. There can be someone else, but I think Apple was the first one who introduced smartphones to us. So today
Right.
is 2021, just the month of April. Within 10 years, what a change has come because of the smartphone introduction into our life.
Exactly.
And in 1990s, when I started teaching, I never had the access other than a good library to add on to my knowledge. Go there and sit and find out something which is a great truth and then add on to my knowledge. I never had an access to even internet. Only highly
Exactly.
academics had some computers, good computers on top of that, and then internet access. So the access to internet, maybe in early 2000s we got it, but smartphones came somewhere in 2010, and that was just 10 years back. And see the
Right.
difference it has to us, right? So there is an institute called Institute for the Future, IFTF. They have done a
Okay.
study. Some important 20 technology people, world's renowned academics people, experts, and business. They brought out a theory that 85% of the jobs just in 2030, which is 9 years away, okay, let's say 10 years away, those jobs have still not been invented.
Okay.
Imagine those jobs have
Right.
not been invented yet. So, what
Right.
should we be doing in our thinking that we bring up our children, the young folks of today, in such a fashion and give them a way of better thinking that they become able enough to join a force or a job which is not even known till now? See,
Right.
now think back. When the smartphone was not there, there was no Google Maps,
Right.
right? There were no Google Maps. We just now open our
True.
Google Maps, can reach everywhere. When
Right.
now the pandemic happened in 2020,
Right.
there is the blessing of Zoom with us, the Google
True.
Rooms with us, that we can
Right.
teach our students online. Had this pandemic happened in 2010, what could be done with the children? They will all be sitting at home, isn't
Right.
it? See the
True,
change
ma'am.
which is in years has taken the by, a surprise. There was no big basket, there was no Ola Uber, there was no Zoom, there was no such kind of a help. And you can well imagine, I think this change will double up every 1 year. It'll be four
Right.
times in 2 years, it'll be 16 times in 4 years, it'll be 64 times
Exactly.
in 6 years or 8 years. And we will have
Exactly.
to upgrade ourselves, right? So that's
Right.
where critical thinking will come to us as a help. So what
Exactly.
I can say is critical thinking is kind of an ability to organized manner. Why? In order the facts and the ideas properly, go deep into them. It helps us to decide what to believe in. हर चीज पे हम believe नहीं कर सकते.
नहीं कर
There is
सकते. True.
information which we can't believe all of them. It is again thinking about thinking. So I can
Right.
say there are 5 things that will never go out of fashion, be it is 2030, be it was 1940. First
True.
topmost is
True.
critical thinking. Critical thinking.
True.
Second is creativity. People then were creative. It was a man
Right.
in the caves who thought of fire and started living
Right.
like a family. Creativity. Then confidence. Confidence, I'm saying, is self-confidence. You are self-confident and talking to varied number of people. Yeah.
Right.
Then communicate. How to communicate your ideas accurately, nicely to the other person. And the
Right.
last but not the least, in today's the world, synergy. Ubuntu, you must have heard the word Ubuntu,
Then it's
is
Ubuntu
collaboration.
collaboration.
I am
Right.
because we are. I
Okay.
am because both of us are together right now. So collaboration to
Right.
me is sum of parts is always lesser than the whole. So these
Right.
5 things will never go out of fashion, be it 2030, be it change of the decade next, it can be the 22nd century. So let's
Right.
think about critical thinking. And so the thing is, there's so much information. To me, information is like a data. साल पहले हमें नहीं पता था कि कोविड के लिए कौन कौन सी वैक्सीन आएंगी. Now
True.
I know there is Pfizer. मैंने ले लिया
Mm-hmm.
अभी फर्स्ट वैक्सीन.
Okay.
Then there is AstraZeneca, there is Covaxin, there is Covishield
Right.
in India. Them are Indian vaccines. So much of data. पर मैं इस बात पे
Right.
विश्वास नहीं कर जब तक लोग मुझे यही कहते रहेंगे, मैम actually there is one vaccine because of which clots are happening. Now the
Right.
scientists are researching into it. So
Right.
collect data, please analyze it, and then conclude. That's the loop of
Right.
critical. हम उल्टा करने लगे हैं. हम कंक्लूड पहले करते हैं. AstraZeneca, I'm
True.
not saying, I'm sorry to quote,
True.
one
Right.
vaccine is giving us clots. हम conclude कर लेते
Right.
हैं. Because we have read it somewhere. We have read it on the WhatsApp group. We have seen it on the
Right.
Twitter. We are there on
True.
the पहले
Right.
conclusion को believe, फिर उसके बारे में खोजबीन करनी शुरू करी. So what are we
True.
doing? We are going opposite to the loop.
Opposite to the right.
Whole thing opposite. ठीक है ना?
Right.
So what now we are becoming hardened into our boxes. अपनी thinking के खिलवाड़ में ही हम फंसे हुए हैं, उसी में ही
Okay.
बहते रहना चाहते हैं. Right?
Right.
But there is a way to take us out of it. That's what
Right.
critical thinking is. तो अगर हम अपने
Exactly.
boxes में रहेंगे तो we will be called, there's a word called intransient people. Intransient
Okay.
like, आप याद करो जब आप टीनेजर थे, adolescent, whatever mom and dad said was wrong to you.
That was wrong. Yes, exactly.
They're talking, what are they saying? They don't know, they haven't seen my world. My world is changed.
Right.
This is my life, right?
True.
So the turn of 18 and the 19 and the 20, and you go into the world, you join a college, you see life is different. It is actually
Right.
my elders a little bit. Come 40s,
Right.
we start thinking to our parents, mothers, and start thinking about our old teachers. Am I right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right, ma'am.
So how do we reclaim our wits? How do we become critical thinkers? Let's talk about 4 or 5 strategies, and then we'll discuss side by
Okay.
side. One
Sure.
thing to me is skepticism. Skepticism. To be skeptical, not cynical. I'm not talking about cynicism. Cynicism
Okay.
एक trait है. That's like I am becoming reactive. क्या है Kaushaki? This is not a place to be. No, without knowing that this is
Right.
also sharing views, right?
Mm-hmm.
So cynical
True.
people are reactive and are kind of very pessimistic. You know,
Okay.
to the person's thoughts in one go. And
Okay.
instead, skepticism is a willful activity to doubt my own ideas. मुझे लगता
Okay.
है मैं ही ठीक, हमें लगता है हमारे विचार अभी सही नहीं है. See, our brain here, this part is called the cerebral cortex. This is the
Okay.
higher center of our cognitive ability. यहाँ से हम
Okay.
ऊंची सोच. This is the lower center of cognitive ability, जो हमारी गर्दन के आसपास जो ब्रेन का हिस्सा है. वो हमें
Okay.
जीना सिखाता है, सांस लेना सिखाता है. उसमें तो कोई बदलाव नहीं आने वाला ना. आज से
Right.
5,000 पहले भी हम वैसे ही सांस ले रहे थे. But this is where
हाँ.
the high are thought of.
Right.
So skepticism is a higher level of cognitive behavior. It is to
Okay.
doubt our own ideas or any certain idea and deeply think about it and then come out with a conclusion.
Okay.
Little
So, ma'am,
practice.
can we say it a filter button? जैसे filter होता है and filtering our thoughts and filtering our ideas and then coming to our decision.
Yes, hard to do. But once you get that idea, नहीं, मुझे इतनी जल्दी believe नहीं करना है. Let me check. Nowadays, I do not go into forwarding WhatsApp messages until unless I know कि हाँ really कहीं clotting हुई है या कहीं कोई ऐसी problem हुई है. क्या मुजफ्फरनगर riots में actually that was the person who did it? So I go deep into
Right.
now understanding what was the problem. Right? So what will
True.
happen? Reward will be large, huge. My thoughts will be my
Right.
reason. I have looked at the situation with a non-acceptance button, filter button. You're very, very right. You put it very
Right.
nice.
Okay.
Yeah. And the second way is fear instinct. Now, suddenly in front of you in your room itself, there's a snake. What will you do? You will not talk to it, run away.
I will shout, right.
Ourselves. That's evolution.
Right.
That evolution taught us that it is our natural instinct to be fearful.
Right.
But लोगों ने मीडिया ने इसको ट्विस्ट कर दिया. TV media, every anchor knows it that bad news sell, fear sells,
Faster. Right.
news do not, good news do
Right.
not. पिछले
Right.
13 महीने से 2 ही न्यूज आते हैं. कोरोना deaths, economies are bad, very, very bad. Schools are not paying fees. No, there are many people
Right.
who are paying fees.
Right.
People who went through corona and the teachers learned so much and started doing
Right.
online. Let's look
Exactly.
for positive things.
Positive things. True.
To me, TV news to my brain is what plain white sugar is to my body.
Right.
चीनी खा
Very
के
rightly.
होगा.
बिल्कुल.
And TV news without having a filter check, we will go into, we become fear mongers. We become fear feeders. उसी बात को हम आगे बढ़ाएंगे. Right? So let us check
Right.
facts. Go deep. Research that idea. Go to BBC News. Go to the editorial. The Hindu, the newspaper has such beautiful editorials. Every editorial for
Right.
Let's
Exactly.
not believing what the media is telling us.
Exactly. Very nicely explained, ma'am. Very nicely explained. And rightly said that we have to feed ourselves with the positive thoughts, positive things, and positive the criteria which is happening around us. Otherwise, our mind will be negatively. It will be enrolled into all these things. That okay, this is happening. Okay, this can happen to me also. So we will be more into a fear factor thing. Rightly explained.
Right. And then one more thing which every human gets into, you, me, every most educated person also will get into is confirmation bias. हमें लगता है it's a bias that happens like because we want nothing to be, our ideas not to be discredited. I challenge you, what I say is right. No.
Right.
No. You listen to my talk, please go and recheck it. Are these ideas? Right. We avoid challenges. We don't want our beliefs to be discredited, to be challenged, non-accepted. हमें चाहिए हमारी ही बात जो है वो सही है और कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता.
Right.
मैं एक छोटी
नहीं हो
सी
सकता।
देती हूँ। मैंने बड़ा समय पहले पढ़ा था, बीइंग अ बायोलॉजी पर्सन, मैं मोस्टली बायो की
ओके,
बात करती हूँ बिकॉज दैट्स माय फेवरेट फील्ड, राइट। मैंने
राइट।
कहा कि लेफ्ट हैंडेड पीपल आर वेरी क्रिएटिव because the
हम्म,
part of the brain actually
इसी,
controls the
राइट,
creativity. Okay, fine. And I mean, like that,
एग्जैक्ट,
people are very creative people.
हम्म,
But तो मान लिया, अब मैं ऐसे कुछ लोगों को देखा कि वो राइट हैंडेड पीपल हैं बट दे आर क्रिएटिव, तो मैं
दे आर
मान
क्रिएटिव।
क्योंकि मैंने सुना है, आई एम नॉट रेडी टू लिसन, दैट्स कॉल्ड कंफर्मेशन बायस। इसमें से हम सभी
हम्म,
जरूरी है, बी एजुकेशनिस्ट, बी huge people with a high fundas behind us, with a great profile. No, we all tend to get into a confirmation bias. So what should we do? We should put question to ourselves is my source trustworthy? क्या मैंने सही जगह से पढ़ा है? Did I
हम्म,
make the conclusion after reading thoroughly about it? Is it possible that even I can be wrong? Yes, it's very
राइट,
much possible that I can be wrong.
बी रॉन्ग।
There is another story that world's third largest cause of blindness is cataract.
ओके,
How are you very sure is it third largest or maybe the first largest? It's
राइट,
written. Let's recheck our facts. So confirmation bias is also a bias which stops us from critically thinking. Then the
राइट।
fourth point
So,
I come to
so
is
ma'am, so ma'am, being critical means to stop and think before taking any action. It can be like for the simple language, layman language, we can say we have to stop, we have to rethink what we have been fed up with, feed our mind with, what information we are getting, and then reacting to the information we are getting it. That is called critical thinking in simple layman language.
in the sense you got an idea. Okay, fine. This is only cataract cause is the third largest cause of. That's your
Right.
problem. Check it, examine it, analyze it by going deep into it. Then,
Okay.
after checking with lots and lots of research, come back to your this thing. Yeah, even I have seen that Harvard is also saying, people in John Hopkins Medical University are also saying the same thing. It's a right thing to say. Not that
Okay.
believe it blindfolded, right?
Okay. Right.
So the fourth
Right.
point is never ever seek agency. मतलब कहने का कि since the time pandemic has happened, almost it's every country that the economy is going bad, including the
True.
US, including the US.
G.
But I can't
Right.
come here just because I came in October. Donald Trump was there and come and say, take him away and take his finance minister away. Everything will be all right with the US. How can that be possible?
Right. Right.
It's very complex system which is economics. Or I come
Right.
to Kaushaki, I think Nirmala Sita Raman should be changed. Economy of India will change. Not at all.
Right.
Maybe the country was spending at bad places. Maybe the customer faith was not there. Maybe there were some people in the finance ministry which were not really helpful or were not up to the
Right.
mark. So it's a very
Mark.
complex
Right.
story. Just go and seek an agency or a person and tell her, blame her, remove Nirmala Sita Raman and we will be a best economy. Not at all. Not at all. That's called seeking agency. ये भी एक गलत तरीका है काम करने का. We should resist a temptation to put blame on one person or one agency or an institute and say this particular institute has policy paralysis. इनका तो कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता. ऐसा
भी
नहीं
नहीं
है.
सकता.
ऐसा नहीं. And the fifth point is, we've discussed four. Fifth way of reclaiming our critical thinking is don't ever be misled by eloquence. All around us, there are political leaders, there are corporate leaders, our own bosses, you can say religious leaders who have eloquence, gift of the gab. वो इतना सुंदर बोलते हैं कि we just get
Hmm.
carried away. We
Right.
start believing the messenger. Forget about the message. It is the message which is important, not the
Right.
messenger. To you, I may be a very eloquent person, but please sit with the best way is all of you sit down with a notepad. Start taking notes.
Uh-huh.
If
Right.
after to me half an hour you are not able to even fill 1/4 of an A4 sheet, then my way of talking is just my gift of gab. That's only
Right.
eloquent, nothing else. Bosses यही करते हैं,
Right.
हाँ ते बुला लेते हैं. I remember when I used to attend, तो कई बारी वापस आना तो कुछ खास लिखा ही नहीं हुआ, क्योंकि वो इतना अच्छा बोलने लगते हैं, इतना सही से. वही सेम चीज sometimes,
We get into that words and
we
magical words. We get trapped. Right.
we get trapped into, we get misled by the messenger, and we are not actually
Right.
listening to the message will be.
Right.
So, in a way, these are the ways by which we can bring our critical thinking behaviors back. We have it, but because हर तरफ हमारे एक information surplus हुई जा रही है, तो हम सब भूलते ही चले गए. We have to bring this back into our beliefs. पहली बात है,
Right.
belief क्या है? What I believe to be true is my belief. But today is the need of upgrading our beliefs. Leaving the hardened boxes which we were behind. बाहर देखो, आप यूएस आप तो रहते ही रहे हो. It's the time when cherry blossom trees are blossoming everywhere.
Right.
हिंदुस्तान
True.
में सुंदर फूल खिले हुए. Spring is there.
Huh.
What does spring tell
Right.
us? There is a way for new things to come in the nature. Old beliefs
Right.
have to die. तो हमें पुराने विचार, पुराने ख्याल, फियर फीडर नहीं बनना है, हमें सिनिकल नहीं बनना है, स्केप्टिकल बनना है. लेट्स बिकम सेल्फ स्केप्टिकल्स फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल. मुझे अपने पे ही शक होने लगता, बिकॉज माई बॉयज कीप टेलिंग मी, मॉम वेयर डिड यू रीड इट, प्लीज गो एंड चेक योर
Right.
फ्रेंड्स.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
True.
So the saying is, next time I will, from now on I will. That means I will start evolving from now onwards. From now onwards, I will put a question mark on what my beliefs were. Maybe they were wrong. Maybe I was a very hardened box which was not allowing other new ideas to come into.
Yeah.
So in a way, if I conclude, so we have talked about is 5 strategies which can help us to become critical thinkers. They are not very hard, but they can only be made a little habit. Remind ourselves, कहते हैं ना 21 दिन को किसी काम को करो तो वो हैबिट बनने लगता है.
Habit बन
हाँ,
बिल्कुल
3
बिल्कुल.
हफ्ते लगातार उठ के सुबह सुबह बैठ के थोड़ी देर मेडिटेट करने लगो तो धीरे धीरे आदत लगने लगती है. So we have
Right.
talked is how to be self-skeptics. A will to doubt ourselves. Self-skepticism. Stay away from fear feeders. It's a natural feeling to become fearful, but stay away
Right.
from fear feeders. Be watchful of our confirmation biases. Never ever seek an agency and say that this person is bad, that policy is bad,
That person policy.
Don't be ever misled by eloquence. Sometimes it's the gift of gab, but no new ideas. So in a way, what are we doing? Bring in open-mindedness in a sheer way. In our classroom,
Very nice.
in our
Right.
family lives, and think critically. So that's what I want to share with you. I hope.
Rightly, ma'am. Very nicely explained, ma'am. Very nicely explained. Ma'am, here I want to ask, like, one question is here. We want to ask here that being a good leader, to be a good leader, do we require all these 5 strategies to be there, or we can just rethink about our thoughts or information, the track of information we are getting from where the source is, or to be a good leader, like all these qualities are to be in a person, or he can be a critical thinker by having 1 or 2 strategy inbuilt in himself. So what is the like from five strategy you have talked about? What is the one quality is mainly required to be a good leader?
One quality I would say is self-skepticism. For sure. पहले डाउट तो करो. भीड़ का हिस्सा बनने से पहले थोड़ा सा शीप जो है वो हमेशा भीड़ का हिस्सा बनती है. कोई एक आके सोच के तो देखो कि मे बी दिस इज रॉन्ग. लेट्स नॉट ब्लाइंडली स्टार्ट फॉलोइंग. पांचों ही करने मुश्किल नहीं है. मैं बहुत देखती होती थी, बट सिंस द टाइम आई स्टार्टेड अंडरस्टैंडिंग दिस एरिया वेरी नाइसली, especially for the last 1.5 years when I started talking to my teachers, own teachers, critical thinking, then I started thinking कि day to day life में critical thinking की बहुत importance है. So I started talking to my teachers, and then we started bringing it into when we are talking to our children at that time also. They should also examine the facts which the teacher has given. Check it. There are many sources. हमारे जमाने में जब मैं पढ़ रही थी इन पंजाब यूनिवर्सिटी इन अर्ली 1980s, there's a huge library which was at our disposal. आजकल तो लाइब्रेरी कोई जाता ही नहीं है. Let's start back to libraries. Here I love it in the US. Even in pandemic,
right,
opening back.
Yeah, we have a great libraries there. We have the love for books there. Like people are loving the books. They are reading the books. I must say I have seen the small kids. They are even going to the library. They are having the books, right?
My grandson is 2 years and 2 months old. Almost in a week, all of us, my sons, nephews, everyone sends him from even India storybooks.
Wow.
To the latest book about Maharaja Ranjit Singh's wife. So let's add on to real knowledge. Right. It's good to be on the internet, but let's put the filters. You use the word very nicely. Filters. So these are the filters, useful filters, which we can practice.
Exactly. Ma'am, one more question here. Like, as you have told us when we were talking about the strategies, that we have a lot of information around us. The sources are so much that we even don't know from where we have been getting this information. So, how to block ourselves from not getting any negative source of information, negative information, and just keeping ourselves on a track to get positive thoughts, positive information, positive news. How to keep this thing into oneself? Like people are using mobile, that small kids are using mobiles, the teacher, everyone is using mobile. So how to just be on a safer side to keep ourselves with a positive thought, positive information, positive news, so that our mind work like that.
Yeah. Best is there and then, okay, you read it. Mind में ये चाहत पहली चीज लेके आओ, doubt it. Little bit doubt it. हो सकता है I am believing a thing which is actually not happening around so much. Yesterday only I was listening to Dr. Naresh Turehan and the people in the pyramid group that this idea of that the vaccines are giving us clots is getting researched. Only about 10 or 12 people in crores of people got the vaccine, developed the clot. Maybe they were on blood. Maybe they were on blood thinners or something was there. Cause behind it. है ना?
Exactly.
तो सोचना ही पड़ेगा. इसी तरह हमें बच्चों को कहना है. हर चीज को पढ़ के don't get carried away. यही सही है. When my elder son, he is now in Zurich, he's a postdoc fellow there. He prepared for becoming a doctor. Right at the time, he got in the sense he was called for selection. Written paper में हो गई थी. He was called for his actual seat being given at Manipal. 10 days before, he tells me, "Man, the date is coming very nearby, but I am getting this kind of feeling. 10 years I'll be studying and then becoming a doctor. Can I think of some other field?" He started researching about other fields which will be as good as medicine. And we out with an idea that yes, biomedical engineering is also a field which is as good as medicine, and you are helping the medical people. Now he's working at University Hospital of Zurich, and he's an engineer, an engineer. So his line was 50% into engineering and 50% into medicine. So we
Okay.
doubt ourselves. हाँ, बच्चे को शक आया कि मैं तो यही पढ़ता रहूंगा, क्या ये गलत है कि मैं
Right.
ना डॉक्टर तो क्या होने वाला है. So
Right.
I and my husband became a strong force behind it. Don't worry, let us research. And in the
Right.
research we found, yes, biomedical engineering is a course even in IIT Delhi, in IIT Chennai. Everywhere this is
Mm-hmm.
it's a confluence line. And he did not go and become an actual doctor. Instead, he is working with the doctors as an engineer. These are the people who make pacemakers and everything. So they have to
Okay.
the body's organs and parts where that machine, tiny little machine will be fitted in. So they need to know the engineering part also. They need to know
Right.
the body's anatomy also.
So
So
when you explore, you get new fields. When you research, you get new thinking. When you search around, you find the alternative way or the better way. Right?
very right.
Right.
Very right.
Okay, ma'am, here I want to ask, how, like, when the person, the child is in his 10th grade or in the 12th grade, he's around to make his career decisions. So he have many doubts around, and sometimes he don't have a mentor, like good mentor to support him, to guide him around. So how can he think about what field is good for him? In general, can you guide like what three, 4 points he should be remembering at that point when he's taking the decision? He should take the commerce, science, or he should what field he should decide. Like as you have told, your son was deciding
Now,
around, so you have an alternative way. So what alternative ways he can think around?
we are very blessed that National Education Policy 2020 is going to be enforced into schools.
Right,
Any
right.
20 is bringing in these fresh ideas only. It was 4 years, 5 years, 4 years back, I think, CBSE came out with the 4 C's, the critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and, these confidence, etc.
Okay. Hmm.
And I started doing training of my teachers in DAV on these topics. And we started researching. And I remember some 3 months back, some of my teachers, they joined a forum where I was talking about these things. What are these
Okay.
ways? And new children were sitting. And then they said, we're doing already. And there we were looking like, oh, abhi ye cheezein to bahut inke liye fresh hain. It's
Hmm.
like this. If some children have still not come to know, it is now the prerogative of all the parents who are listening, all the educated parents who can be a great help to their own children. Go on to the internet and research. There is so much available. Ask your schools, your teachers, request the school teachers and the authorities in the schools to bring in people who are career counselors, who are. Next Sunday, I'm going to sit with a group of DAV teachers along with my son and
Wow.
guiding them how things can be done. And don't
Right.
worry, it can be an internet age now. But I remember Chote Wale ne, the one who I'm living with now, he's into a National Institute of Health where the vaccine has been developed. इसने उस
Okay.
2006 में तो इंटरनेट का कोई ऐसा पसारा ही नहीं था. स्मार्टफोन थे ही
Right.
नहीं. अभी बात करी दोनों
नहीं
ने,
थे.
नहीं थे.
बिल्कुल.
So we had written a small, tiny, in the newspaper, HT में, Usha Albuquerque, I remember, she used to take questions
Okay.
of children. I had written
Uh,
at that my son is doing
Okay.
a student of PCB with maths, physics, chemistry, bio with maths, and he doesn't want to become a doctor. What should he be following? She says bioinformatics. Why not? He can go into biochemistry, microbiology, and these fields are very, very authentic fields, and he can do a lot of. I still have that small cutting. तो उस जमाने में
Okay.
अगर हम न्यूज़पेपर में लिख
तब
के
की वो guidance that
ये
work right now,
ये
right?
और अब तो सब कुछ घर बैठे पता है. मैं आपके
Will
साथ, you are in Agra and I am in Washington DC. See,
right.
the
Right.
world it's a global village where information can be shared
Exactly.
directly. Yeah,
Right. So,
that's
ma'am,
it.
like these kind of sessions, like we are taking and we are having, Are these sessions are required in the coming like future, in the coming time? These kind of sessions must be there in the schools. What is your advice or suggestion on that? Like these kind of sessions, these kind of training, the mentor training and the critical thinking, leadership qualities, all the soft skills we are talking about, all these things should be provided in the school during the learning period, or they should be learned after the school. Like what you suggest about it?
The first of all thing will be our teachers should be trained at this time. They are getting trained. They are getting trained
Right.
by side. But once physically the schools will come in, they should be really, really well trained by experts into all these leadership qualities and the ways and means by which their way of thinking. See, they have to self-doubt their way of teaching also.
Yeah,
Correct?
teaching also. Right, right, right.
It's not your thinking. So ways and
Mm.
means be upgraded. Then once they are going into the classroom, already in front of me, a very tech savvy child is sitting. Today's children are tech savvier than us. Much, much tech
True.
savvy. I was taking a lot of time to understand from you, how will I go into Instagram, because I've never
Right.
used. Yeah, I'm
Exactly.
first with Zoom and Cisco WebEx and Google Meet, etc. We are learning. They know it very well. So
Right, right,
आपको जब
right.
आएंगे, they are already in a state of mind where their mind is learning like this. My tiny
Mm.
2-year-old and 2 months can say the word excavator. Can you
Oh,
believe?
wow.
He meets friends and
Mm.
can. I said, you're not taking Dadi along? He says, oh, what is
Right.
excavator? Excavator. I said,
Hmm.
okay,
Right.
okay, machines.
They are learning more better than us. Like we were the spoon feeder that time. Now the children are much better and much advanced in the form they are getting information, because the source of information are so much that they are well feeded before we are telling them something new. So
And
everything is so. Ma'am, one question here we have, like the sources are so much, the information is so much. So sometimes the is it making our life boring, or it is making our life more enjoyable? Because when the information is before handed, we have the information, like before learning, we have all the information in our mind with our mobile tabs and everything. So it is making our life more enjoyable, or it is making our life boring? Because this question is like something personal to me, so I'm just asking it. Like,
it's like this. I'll tell you. I'll give you I always give my own examples.
right.
I keep getting backache. I'm now also sitting with a very straight chair, right?
Hmm.
तो मेरे को वो खाने नहीं खाने चाहिए जिनसे काइंड ऑफ फ्लैटलेंस हो, या जिसको कहते हैं ना बायवादी, बिकॉज
Right,
बोन्स
right, right, right,
पेन के कीप्स कमिंग बैक. तो मुझे
right.
रिसर्च कर कि कौन कौन सा खाना नहीं खाना चाहिए.
नहीं
Instead of
खाना चाहिए.
everything which is available to me, I just start munching. It's like
Hmm.
exact example to us. 36
Hmm.
पदार्थ पड़े हैं तो सभी तो हमें नहीं खाने हैं ना.
नहीं
We
खाने.
have to see what suits me. Over here,
Hmm.
I started loving avocado. Fine, I'm in love with avocado, but I am मेरे को 6 महीने हो गए आए हुए. I'm very skeptical, I should say, before I start eating pasta.
Eating
Again,
it.
no, once a week is fine. At my
Right.
late 50s, you can't just keep eating pasta because refined maida hai wo, refined flour.
Right.
So
True.
you are doubting your own ideas, doubting the
Right.
things which you were eating before. तो वो 36 के
Right.
36 आके खा नहीं लेने हैं, देखना है कि मेरे लिए क्या सही है.
मेरे लिए क्या सही है? Right.
Yeah.
Right. Very
It is
nicely explained,
available.
ma'am.
Everything is available to us on platter, but we have to see what suits my health. यहाँ मुझे
Ma'am,
बहुत
one quality,
हाँ,
you want to tell the person can teach the child from the childhood to be a critical thinker, to be a good leader. What one quality the parents should tell, or provide to the child from the childhood?
first thing they can do is start bringing in the reading habit. Reading habit makes the child stay away from the internet and the keyboard and the cell phone all the while. यहाँ बहुत कम लोग, बच्चे जहाँ छोटे होते हैं ना, उन घरों में टीवी तभी चलाते हैं जब बच्चा बाहर खेलने गया हुआ है। ये चीज करना बहुत जरूरी है। तुम्हें याद नहीं है जब तुम्हारे 12th के एग्जाम होते होंगे या 10th के, तो मॉम डैड यू नो टीवी का वही बंद कर देते थे, व्हाट यू कॉल,
बंद कर देते, राइट
हाँ,
राइट राइट।
यू नो। तो वो ही चीज है जो हमें अभी भी थोड़ी सी प्रैक्टिस करनी है। यहाँ मुझे बहुत ब्यूटीफुल लगता है कि एवरी चाइल्ड इज इनटू रीडिंग, जो हिंदुस्तान में हमारे यहाँ कम होता जा रहा है।
कम
जबकि
होते
हम
जा रहे हैं।
दादी कितनी ब्यूटीफुल स्टोरीज हमें सुनाते होते थे। I remember my nanny is no more. She was from Burma. My parents had lived in, my mother has lived with my nana in Burma. He was a retired officer from British Army.
ओके
तो वो हमें
ओके।
इतनी सुंदर कहानियां पंजाबी में सुनाती थी, बट दिन बन जाता था, रात अच्छी नींद आती थी।
ट्रू।
अगर में लेके आएंगे तो ज्यादा टाइम तो आपका क्वालिटी टाइम इज विद द चाइल्ड फॉर रीडिंग। 2.25 year old is reading Scholastic की एक बुक होती थी, The School Bus in the Body, My School Bus. The name of the series
ओके,
is My School Bus. Go
माय
and
स्कूल
research.
बस। ओके
He's it. He's only looking at the babies there. He's not understanding what is bus doing in
राइट,
my
बट ही इज
digestive.
इमेजिनिंग द थिंग्स, ही इज
Yeah,
मेकिंग द स्टोरीज अराउंड, राइट
yes,
राइट
his imagination is becoming better. His
राइट
making of the words is becoming better. Yeah, from the book only he picked the word, excavate. I was
राइट,
I was surprised.
सरप्राइज, राइट।
So a reading habit right from the start is the best way of giving knowledge to your child. He will not get bored. ये वर्ड उनके मुंह में नहीं आएगा कि मैं तो बोर हो गया,
बोर हो गया।
Yeah, yeah. Right.
Very nicely explained, ma'am, and truly said that reading habit can bring lot of imagination, can make you more knowledgeable and make you more, to learn new things. And we can easily tell a student or a child from the childhood that you can, start reading, and we can take these habits from the daily basis. So very nicely explained, ma'am, and thank you so much for joining us today and telling us so much about critical thinking, leadership qualities, and being a leader. You have talked about so many things and given us a special time. So thank you so much for joining today. We are very blessed to have you today, and hashtag Innovative India आपको thank you कहता है for joining today, and thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kaushaki, for calling me. I am really, really indebted to you. It's my privilege to be here, and whenever we can be together again, we will be. Thank you so much.
Surely, ma'am. Surely, ma'am.
Thank you.
Namaste. Namaste from India.
Namaste.
Namaste.